Hello everyone, Lawrence here, and I'd like to welcome you guys back to The Real Grill. Today, me and the boys are going to be grilling Marvel's Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Now, this has been one of the most highly anticipated movies of the year, following the tragic death of Chadwick Boseman, who played Black Panther. There's been endless questions, speculation, and a few fan theories about how the movie would handle the death of the Black Panther and who would take up the mantle going forward. Now, director Ryan Coogler had a massive job on his hands, creating a sequel to one of the highest grossing Marvel movies of all time, and his job was made even harder by losing Chadwick Boseman, who was such a charismatic and lovable actor and played T'Challa and the Black Panther so well. But I don't want to go on too long, so I don't want to give anything away in the intro, so let's get cooking. Wakanda Forever. Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Well, the second Black Panther movie. I think all of us were probably very highly anticipating this movie, considering the tragic passing of Chadwick Boseman and how this movie would deal with the loss of the main character of the movie. It is a massive thing to take on, and obviously there's two ways that one can there's a few different routes that a movie like this can take once a fundamental character dies. You could either recast, which I do not think people would have liked. You could have also portrayed the death of the character in the movie, which is where the movie goes with. Or you could try CGI editing like Fast and Furious did with Paul Walker, which was kind of weird, but thankfully I think they did take the right route and actually portrayed his death in the movie and passed the mantle on to someone else. So where the movie starts is by tackling that very thing. So we see Shuri frantically trying to develop a cure for her brother T'Challa, who is currently succumbed to a mysterious illness, and she's trying to recreate the heart-shaped herb that gives the Black Panther their powers, in an attempt because she believes that could cure his illness. And obviously there are no heart-shaped herbs left because Killmonger in the first movie set all fire to all of them. Unfortunately, she's not successful. She's not able to synthesize a cure, and T'Challa does die. And we see a beautiful funeral scene for T'Challa, paying respects to both T'Challa and also to Chadwick Boseman simultaneously there. About a year later, Wakanda starts coming under pressure from other nations around the world. They're trying to force them to share their wealth of vibranium with the world, so that the world can become more technologically advanced and catch up with them. And obviously, Wakanda is very reluctant to do that. So certain countries try to steal the vibranium from Wakandan outposts by force, and they are stopped by the Dora Milaje, which is the elite women fighting force that Wakanda has. And she makes a declaration to the world that you're not gonna get our vibranium, but and if you try, we're gonna fuck shit up, bruv. Fast forward a bit because there's quite a lot of backstory plot. We hear about a vibranium detector being created by someone that we'll find out later, and they find that there are sources of vibranium outside of Wakanda, and that the CIA and the Navy SEALs are there looking for it, but then they're attacked by some mysterious underwater people, and a superhuman with wings on his legs named Namor. But they believe, obviously because no one's ever heard of these people, they think it's the Wakandans that have attacked America. And this is now starting an international incident between Wakanda and the US. So in order to resolve, meanwhile, Namor wants to find Namor, who's the leader of the underwater tribe that attacked the US. They want the scientists that created this vibranium detector, obviously to protect their own land, because it's revealed that a vibranium meteor didn't only hit Wakanda, but it also hit somewhere underwater as well, and that is what's given them their powers. We get a whole backstory of it, which I can't remember off the top of my head, but essentially, they consume some vibranium and they become underwater people, and they can now live underwater, and they have just as much vibranium as Wakanda, if not more. So Namor confronts both Shuri and Queen Ramona, saying, "Bring us the scientists, or we're gonna fuck shit up. Basically, we're gonna take over your shit." So Shuri and Okoye go to find the scientists that created this vibranium detector, and it turns out to be Riri Williams, a 19-year-old student who's currently working at MIT, I think, and she was the person that created it. And now there's like a freeway chase for both Shuri and Okoye to get to her, for the US government to get to her, and also the Namor's people to also get to her. And that is like a summary of the first act. Does anyone else want to jump in? Because I'm struggling.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think that's
you just described the first 45 minutes.
yeah.
Well, you know what?
I think that's pretty much it.
Like, no, it's good because this was one of the things that I kind of had a feeling about. Like, this film just feels very bloated. Like, there's a lot of plot. There's so much going on that it's very like, and you know, obviously the film is very. It's like, what is it? Almost 3 hours. So
Yeah, I think so.
2 hours, 40 something minutes.
yeah. So I was sitting in the cinema just thinking, oh, this is just man. It's like they could have taken so much of this out, and it would have just made it just more polished, just like cleaner. But obviously, I don't want to kind of get into my opinion of the movie just yet. Like, obviously, I wanted to find out how you guys felt about the characters and whatnot, and like actually my main thing was with the whole way they tackled the problem with T'Challa himself, Chadwick Boseman. Do you guys feel like that was the right way to go about it? Do you feel it was respectful? It was exploitative, like exploiting his actual death?
I don't think it was exploitative at all. But can I just quickly mention how many else's? Because it was a very memorable moment for me was that when the first Marvel Studios the logo came on, how many else's screens were like dead silent? Like you could hear a pin drop. It was like like silence can say 1,000 words kind of thing. Those 100%. Kind of moments. It was you just feel the emotion in the room at that point, and just things like that, and the way I think just for the T'Challa stuff, if we just focus on that, I think they handled that beautifully for the film. So yeah, I can say they gave him a good send-off. Really, what would you guys think?
I don't think they could have done it anyway, because he was their monarch, and they did his funeral the way a monarch would have had a funeral. So I don't think it was exploitative at all. That's about right.
Yeah, I think as well, like the way that they did it, it helps the viewer feel the loss of the character as much as feeling a loss for the actor as well, which I think is kind of powerful in a dual sense. It's powerful for the movie, but it's also powerful and respectful for him as an actor as well. Like, you feel the sense of that loss for him as well, outside of him being the character. So I thought that was quite powerful at numerous points of the film, beginning, middle bits, and then obviously the end as well.
I totally agree. Oh, sorry, go on, Law. You wanted to add as well.
I was just going to say, I think of the options they have had, I think they took the best option with regards to dealing with T'Challa's death. I think a recast wouldn't have worked. At least for me, it wouldn't have worked. And obviously, you can't like CGI like a fake T'Challa in there, because that just would have been like corny.
Yeah, that would have been terrible.
I don't think it would have been received well.
And don't even get me started on the CG to begin with, anyway. But this might sound like a bit of an a-hole thing to say, but like there's a thing going. I just saw comments going around on video saying like, so basically Black Panther passed away, but none of the Avengers showed up to his funeral. What's show off? Like,
that was the thought, man. That part, not even Cap and Winter Soldier.
Like,
I would have thought Cap and Winter Soldier. I thought was Winter Soldier.
They're not even about anymore though. Ain't about back in.
No, you're right. Yeah. No, Law's right. Yeah.
Man.
Man, we can fly, man. He's got freaking fly miles, man. We can get on a plane.
But
come on, bro.
But you know what?
Like Joe Biden, man.
We can get on a plane, bro. Like, you know.
But you know what? T'Challa showed up to T'Challa showed up. He showed up to Tony Stark's funeral, but nobody else paid the same. So it just goes.
I'm not sure why they done that. I'm not sure why they didn't, because it wouldn't have even been like an integral part of the film. It would have just been like cameos in it. So I'm not sure why they didn't do that. Maybe it was just money, or maybe it was just because they wanted to really keep it isolated from everything else.
I think they could easily get it. Because in like in Shang-Chi and stuff, like the end bit where you could easily tell everybody was just green screened into that room. They could have just done something like that, maybe, just to show that, because it's a send off for not just Black Panther, but for Chadwick as well, like everyone's saying. So nice. I don't know why they didn't.
I don't think the green screen or CGI thing would have worked. To be fair, that would have just looked corny, like like in Star Wars, CGI and it as a fourth person. I just think if you're gonna do it, have the actors there, but or don't do it at all. And I reckon, I mean, they wanted to just keep it.
Yeah, that's probably why. Then, that's probably why.
Yeah.
So I didn't mind that the other Avengers weren't actually there, because we don't actually know what Avengers like, because obviously Tony's dead, Cap's like an old man,
but also as well,
and Hawkeye, who hardly knew him, and like
I was gonna say the only person who really should have kind of rocked up should have really been like maybe Winter Soldier and Cap. Everyone else, like no one else really knew the character that well in terms of their interactions in the movies.
Do you mean? Do you mean?
I mean,
not when you say Cap. Do you mean what's his name again? Falcon. Do you mean Falcon?
Falcon.
No. I meant old man Cap, bro.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean old man Cap. Yeah. For calling him that now.
So what you can say is that the reason everyone showed up to Tony Stark's funeral is because he technically did die for most of the universe. T'Challa died of an illness, and can you really see the Wakandans going out chasing down Avengers to come to his funeral? They were more mourning their monarch, not hunting out Avengers to. Do you think they told anyone?
Nah, it's true. Obviously, and they are secret. They are secretive society as well. So
yeah, and I guess from a political sense as well, maybe they wanted to keep it in house, kind of thing. So so supposedly, but that
was one of the main points of the film, is that because once they found out Black Panther had died, that is when they saw Wakanda as vulnerable and started attacking so that's again a reason why they didn't want it. They kept it up as much as possible.
Was that really like the in what instigated the whole like plot to unravel? Like, was it not what's her face, the Ironheart? Was it not her that she kind of because in my mind, like from what I saw, she was basically the whole kind of driving force of the plot. Well, in the beginning.
It was two-pronged, wasn't it? It was two-pronged. First they had tried to get vibranium from Wakanda and failed, and I think their alternative was to try and obviously find it elsewhere. So I think it was showing obviously they couldn't do it. They couldn't get it from Wakanda, but they had a backup plan with this machine to find it elsewhere.
I get that, but the whole conflict between what's it called? Is it Tannock?
Yeah.
And the Tannock.
Yeah, it was.
And the Wakandans
it was mainly from the girl. It was mainly from the machine that she built. That was the main instigator of that side of the story.
Yeah.
They closed us the Wakanda side pretty early on in the movie in that courtroom, and they were just like, here's your men. Like you can't do shit, bro. So yeah. Anyway, Namor slaps, bruv. I'm just gonna say it now. He slaps. Yeah. I love the character. He looked hard on screen. The scenes where he was just, I'm just gonna say it now in it one time in it. There were the scenes with the wings on his feet where he was just flying, taking out planes and taking out people, and how they made it look like he was like skating on air. I thought that was fantastic. I thought that was fantastic and fluid, bruv. I was like, yep, my man. I'm ready for you, bro.
Because I was in my head, I was wondering how are you going to make this man with little wings and his like a ladder, you know what I mean? And they actually firing wings on his ankles. He looked like he's skating on earth. They done it well.
You thought my one was gonna be like Hermes out here, bro. You know what I mean? Like I definitely think in terms of on-screen action, for me anyway, it's very close to obviously Shuri, but he near enough kind of stole the show in terms of amazement. Like the scenes that I enjoyed the most, that wowed me, were actually scenes where he was doing his thing. And it wasn't even that many, but I think it's because it was something new. And obviously, you don't really see a guy kind of figure skating on the air a lot. I'm looking like a hard nut while doing it. So I thought he was fantastic. The way they've done both his character and how they portrayed his powers as well. That was pretty well done.
This might be jumping ahead, but one scene that really stood out to me that I loved, like involving Namor, was when he basically declared war with the Wakanda. Obviously, before he was kind of like warning them, giving them like veiled threats. But then there was at the point where I think what was it? Was it Nami? She basically went to rescue Nakia. Sorry, she went to rescue Shuri and Ironheart. I can't remember her actual name.
Yeah, Riri Williams.
That's it, Riri Williams. And one of the Tannock guards, they were killed. So obviously that was the point at which Namor decided, you know what, it's war now. And then you show this scene. There's a scene where basically he's wearing like the royal crown, and he's like descending.
It's like Mayan type.
The Mayan type. Yeah. Just that scene, the lighting, the way it's shot, and it's a trailer shot as well, and it's like he's descending into the throne. I just thought, this looks badass. Like this looks really cool.
His character was. Sorry, go on, finish up.
No, I was just saying that it establishes that his his authority, his power, like it just shows like he is the true king of this Atlantic kingdom.
Yeah, his I was gonna say his didn't really have any. Oh, can you hear me? Sorry. His character didn't really have any development for the movie, did it? He kind of just came on screen as this non-trust, kind of resentful to humanity, and he kind of stuck with that role throughout the movie, didn't he? Throughout the film. Name what I'm talking about.
My problem, Ruben, was his character development was all like in flashbacks. Yeah, that was basically the point of it. So you never really saw him grow as a character. But I mean, he did have good scenes, regardless. Just wasn't he just didn't feel like a three-dimensional, like a fleshed out character.
Yeah. I think the scene you were talking about in particular, the scene where his one of his fellow Atlanteans dies, and he dies in her arms, and she's like, can you save? She says like, can you save me, or I don't want to die, or something along those lines. And you can see the pain and anguish on his face. Yeah, but it's almost like he it's like kind of the anguish you see from a father to a daughter, from a leader to his followers. But at the same time, that's the same kind of vibe he gives off for most of the movie. And just with what you were saying about flashbacks, the one thing I will say, it would have been nice to have seen some kind of transformation from him going from one extreme, or at least near one extreme, to the other. Sure. Because I think it made that scene less powerful for me, because it was just kind of like, okay, now he's got an excuse to go to war, as opposed to now I'm angry, I'm gonna go to war. For me, you were angry the whole way through, mate. You know what I mean? So I don't know if you guys agree or not, but yeah.
No, you're definitely right, but there's a problem where like you don't want to make the movie any longer than it already was, and all that kind of stuff, and the fact
3 hours. Yeah,
it's a bit tricky because this whole story was about Shuri's kind of rising up against her mourning period, her becoming, Black Panther and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's a bit tough to like kind of put that light on someone else during the film or something. Yeah. So
I agree. I agree.
Situation, to be honest, it's a very tricky situation.
But the thing is, Subi, there's many
should have been in this film maybe, and they should have saved it for another thing, perhaps. Yes, like I said, it's a very
tricky. More movies, yeah.
Sorry.
You really want more Marvel movies?
That's also a good point. Yeah, I mean, it definitely could have been handled better, and I would always welcome more establishment of a character.
Just to say, Cam, I will watch a Namor movie, bruv. I'll watch a Namor learning how to fly, bruv. I'll watch it, bruv. Like, with that training arc, you know what I mean?
So, the problem with this movie, you can't really have Namor and his people fight again, because as you saw from the end of the movie, they decimated. There were about 6 Wakandans left. If they actually went to war, they're decimated. You can't really.
Did anyone
get like, no, let you off. Nah, there were 6 of you left.
I mean,
all hugged up
To
in
be
the corner.
fair, Wakanda made a bad decision by going on their turf. Why did they go out to the sea?
Yeah, that's a big plot hole as well.
One or two ships, like one or two ships.
Yeah.
Were like,
I
yeah.
think the reason they did that was it was one of those things where we could either wait for them to attack us, and we saw what happened and nearly destroyed.
Messed up our lands, yeah.
It was our first salvo and they then destroyed the city. So they thought we'd attack them when they're not ready, and which is why they had a chance of winning because they didn't bring out their whole force. They only brought out a smaller, and that was the thing. That is why, because they'd be less prepared for
civilians.
Yeah, but I still think it was just like a ridiculous strategy. I mean, obviously it was good to kind of
Shuri was
catch
in
him
it
off
for the
guard.
Avengers. That's why. Her goal was catch him and kill him.
Yeah, that is true, and that was their main goal. Their main goal wasn't to decimate Namor's forces; it was to take out the head of the snake.
Yeah.
Well, supposedly, that's what I thought the goal was. Not that Shuri had done already. Yeah.
Exactly. Thinking clear, and obviously she's the new leader, basically, because she became the Black Panther. We can talk about Shuri and her Black Panther and how she became Black Panther. Can we chat about Riri Williams and what we thought about her introduction, obviously, to the MCU as Ironheart?
She was basically a plot. She was a plot device. Let's be honest. She was just a plot device.
All I did was trash, man.
Like, no, but it's true though. It's
Her
really.
suit was trash.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh, wait. So what did you say?
I said
He said her suit was trash.
Oh,
and
yeah,
I agree.
well-
It looked like something out of like a kid's show, to be honest.
Betamax. Was it
That's so true.
6 Hero or whatever?
Yeah, I think
So cool, you can say. Sorry.
I feel like they failed Riri Williams in every kind of perceivable way. Like the character was flat, the CG on her suit, like the build up to her suit was just, the payoff was terrible. I mean the actress, she was good, but her dialogue was just cringe. For me anyway.
Yeah.
And she just felt like
Everything about it.
she just felt like a plot device just to move the story forward. That's all she felt. She didn't feel like a real person.
Yeah, because all it was is she was supposed to introduce the character, and that was it. They kept her in this movie for a lot longer than she needed to be in it.
She didn't need to be in it, like for most of it, to be honest. Like by the time. Yeah, go on.
I also didn't like, you know, how they just kind of made her. You know, they brought like a civilian essentially into like a war.
Exactly. She didn't need to be in it.
That was one thing. And two, I didn't like how she just happened to have this like secret suit which she can just whip out that she's been flying, you know, for a while. So but basically she had no real character development as to her ability to create suits or anything like that. It was just, oh, here's a genius. She can make stuff.
Yeah, I actually think that she's one of the biggest problems with this movie. I think, and I'm not even sure if it's Ryan Coogler's fault, because I think when you're making an MCU movie, I'm assuming you're given certain directives that it has to link to certain other parts of the movie to bring it. So we got to introduce Riri Williams. We got to introduce the head of the Thunderbolts. That name? I can't count it.
Oh, that lady.
The one that Everett Ross, his ex-wife.
Or whatever. And I think this would have worked a lot better if it was just a standalone. This is a Black Panther movie. We don't need to try and make this is the Riri origin story. So now you know who she is, and now this is And
I was gonna say it takes up screen time, and it would have been a lot more better. I would have been satisfied if you really do want to introduce the character. Just do it in like an after credit scene, or just do it in like a subtle cameo kind of scene where, I don't know, you can kind of infer that she's going to be used as a character in further movies. But yeah, don't make like a quick rushed origin story when you're already trying to do the same with Namor and obviously further Shuri's story as well, all at once, because it just nothing seems really complete.
No.
You just kind of got the main plot and then all these kind of little side plots which are rushed. But yeah.
Look, you have to mention there was one character who stole the scene every time he's on screen, and his first line was, "You bald-headed demon."
Yeah, there wasn't enough. There wasn't enough of. I'm forgetting. I'm blanking on his name. I just call him Mane. It was Mane, right?
Winston Duke M'Baku.
M'Baku, that's it.
Oh,
He was. one of the few people that actually like made the film entertaining.
Yeah.
Every scene he was in was
He's got presence. He's got strong presence.
Yeah.
Oh, the other line was look, the fish man.
Oh yeah.
Oh, but
what did you guys think about Shuri's character? You know, her journey to becoming the Black Panther, her development, because it was actually a lot of development for her throughout the movie. She did go through quite a few changes and have quite a lot of difficulties she did have to overcome. So that was quite well done that they managed to at least focus those key points on her character. How did you guys feel about her journey?
I felt as though like the character herself, like I didn't really have a problem with the character. I just feel like I'm blanking on the name. The actress herself, she just lacks kind of a certain screen presence.
Letitia, that's the one.
Letitia Wright, yeah. She lacks a certain, I don't know, like a certain kind of leading lady kind of quality. I can't really put my finger on it.
Main character vibe. Yeah.
Main character vibe, yeah. I just don't get that like that strength from her. The way Chadwick Boseman just, you know, you could just
get behind him and rally.
You could get behind him. She just doesn't have that, and she's not a terrible actress by any stretch, but I just don't think she has the chops to really live up to this title of being a main character. But you know, maybe she'll grow and develop.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Grow into
this is a movie of side characters. That is like fundamentally, and obviously they're forced in this position. But it's one of those things where hopefully she grows, because I don't think you can recast her at this point. She's already been in like a few movies, and so hopefully she grows into her role. But I do see what you mean. She did feel still like a side character, regardless of how much the movie was centered around her. And I did think they did a good job of the character's journey to becoming Black Panther and showing that she's not this perfect person. Because a lot of critics always like look at, especially when they're strong female leads, they always criticize how strong they are portrayed and stuff. I think this done a very good job of showing that she was very flawed, that she was extremely angry, and I think that was portrayed very well when she turned into the Black Panther and who she saw in her vision, which was the Michael B. Jordan cameo. I thought was great.
One of her best scenes was that scene with Michael B. Jordan, I think.
Yeah.
I thought Michael B. Jordan killed it in his cameo, because like you're saying, in terms of what you're saying about that whole leading role type, I thought Michael B. Jordan was in the movie for like 15-20 seconds, and I think he stole the show.
I think that's the thing. She obviously, as in terms of the character she's filling, she's got very big boots to fill, and also there are a lot of strong other presences in that movie well. Even ones who aren't even physically in the movie, you still feel their presence. So I think that's the thing. Her character can be overshadowed by all the other presences in the film. But I think that I was saying, what is it? Something like great leaders a great leader just doesn't choose to lead, or something like that. It just kind of happens. But I thought that was a good aspect of her development, that she didn't actually choose to be in the position she was in. She was just reacting, and basically had to pick up the metaphorical sword out of sheer necessity, as opposed to choosing to go down that path. So I thought that was pretty good. The alternative would have been to make it seem really forced. And I don't think that would have went down well. Like, she's a natural born leader, she's inclined to lead, that kind of thing. I don't think that would have went down too well. But she really had to fight and push for where she got to in the end, which I thought was quite good to watch and take away. You could feel it, like her pain and anguish throughout the film. Yeah. Quite good.
And the reason I think it felt more personal as well is because it kind of felt like Letitia's journey as well, because I've seen her in a lot of interviews and like even on the Comic-Con stage and stuff. She gets really emotional when they talk about Chadwick, because they were like, I think she really felt like, Chadwick was her big brother kind of thing. So so like a lot of the point, it was like, was she, I mean, she was acting, of course, but like, so some of it felt really real when she's like,
channeling,
so she was channeling all that, and it just definitely felt personal. So I like that, and I just think in the position she was in, I think she did the best she could do. And like I said, I think she will grow into it. So let's see where it goes. But that's where I'll leave it.
What did you think of the introduction to Baby T'Challa? Or T'Challa Jr., sorry.
I mean, it was like a kind of heartwarming moment, I'd say, because obviously to find out that he has a he has a son, and someone sort of following his footsteps. It's like a bittersweet kind of vibe. Did I feel like it followed the
But then,
Marvel?
yeah, I could say, then if you think about the fact that he probably spent maybe a couple of months with this child because he was snapped and then he was dead.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, this
true.
is the thing. Yeah, exactly. It's quite sad. It's quite sad, but at the same time, I was just kind of thinking that the Marvel formula is in full effect again. Like, having that kind of.
I don't think that scene was needed. I don't think they needed to introduce.
No, it definitely wasn't needed. Again, I think it was as much of a homage to the character as it was to the actor. It was something they put in there for that kind of heartfelt, warm feeling to end the movie on. As opposed to ending it like on like a very high note, they ended it on like a warm, somber kind of feeling, and I think that's why they decided to put that in as like homage to kind of bring it back, obviously, to Chadwick Boseman and whatnot. So yeah, that's how they started it with his funeral, and that's how they wanted it to end. It started with him and ended with him. So I think that was the point of it, kind of. So yeah, but I do get what you mean. It wasn't needed for the movie, but yeah, just contextual. That's why I think they did it.
Really, really quickly, I just really want to take my hat off, because I think personally the best performance in this movie, hands down, was Angela Bassett. Like, obviously she's already like a top caliber actress, but she really gave it her all. And especially there's a scene between her and Okoye, where she obviously lets she fails basically to stop Shuri, to protect Shuri, and you just, that exchange is just so fiery, and you really kind of get drawn into the scene. So it was just that, and her whole performance, right? I mean, like, it's just every scene was just powerful. And when they obviously
I would say her and Denai Guerrero.
Denai Guerrero, they were the ones who really. Yeah, they were the ones who really like kind of brought the film to life for me personally, anyway. So yeah, when she exited the movie, I was a little bit let down, but yeah, because I was hoping she would like kind of, because her scenes were the highlights for me. But yeah, it is what it is, I guess. I don't know how you guys felt about like them killing her off. Did you feel like it was a wasted opportunity?
I actually saw an interesting post about this. It was saying basically you could tell Disney owns Marvel because none of the Disney characters have parents.
No, that's true. Actually. Yeah, that's
origin story kind of building in it. Do you know what I mean? As well, just a simple way to build origin and to build that kind of quick way to character development, to build like a rage in a character and see them get them to have that rage and see them overcome that rage. Spider-Man done it as well with Uncle Ben. It's just that that formula. A bit commonly used, but it obviously is a really powerful motivational device for any character, also a parent. So. Yeah,
I think they needed to make her like queen, like to be the actual leader. She couldn't have anyone above her, I think. So that's probably another reason why they had to kill her now, so that she.
So it's preferable to the alternative where you have a war, but all the main characters survive. So obviously this wasn't that big of a deal then. Like, so at least it shows that there are stakes and someone actually important in the cast actually dies. There's a lot of movies that don't have the bravery to kill off main characters, so so I'd prefer everyone surviving.
I'd agree with that if at the end of the movie one of those 6 people, a lot of them weren't the main cast, because again, a lot of them survived at the end.
Just the one, I guess. The one.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. No, she definitely gave a good performance and stuff. So.
And just also I will say as well, I do quite like the flavor of the flavor of the movie, the vibe, if you will, which I think was present in the first Black Panther movie, and it did kind of still have that kind of I'm going to call it the Wakandan vibe, just with the dialogue and the banter between the characters, the music, the kind of stuff that kind of it immerses you and makes you feel this is a Black Panther movie and distinct from other Marvel movies. I think it still maintained that.
Yeah.
There's that the soundtrack was brilliant, and it did have a lot of great visuals. It was actually on Subi, because I know Subi loves his visuals.
Visuals and soundtrack. Because Ludwig Göransson is actually one of my favorite composers right now,
Amen
and he
to
kills
that.
it.
Yeah,
Movie
no.
he does. Yeah.
I'm right there with you. I'm glad that they brought him back from the first movie because I was listening to this soundtrack and I just fell in love all over again. Like it's just brilliant. It's just so good, and the fact that he incorporated the Mexican kind of like instruments as well, like the folk sort of music of like their heritage, as well as the African. It just makes like for a beautiful fusion of these different cultures, and you can really feel that in the soundtrack.
I think that was a good decision to change Namor's origin in terms of making him a more Aztec, more Mexican heritage, because I don't believe that is what he is in the comics. I don't think there's any sort of relation to that. So I think that's
just a normal Atlantean.
That was
another reason is I didn't want to make him Aquaman, like, so they wanted to change him into Aztec.
Oh, that's another thing we talk about. Atlantis. What did you guys think about? Can we call it Atlantis?
No, it's called Tanok. I think.
Atlantis.
What's it?
It's called
What
Tanok.
was it called? Sorry.
Tanok.
Tanok, yeah. What did you guys think about how Tanok was portrayed, the underwater city and the Tanokians? What did you guys think about the visuals of that? Personally, I don't think it was all that, but I think they did. I don't think they went into it too much because they didn't want to have a direct comparison to Aquaman. So I think that's why they kind of sidelined that and just obviously had the key scenes where they were talking. They didn't really go too much into what the city was like. But yeah, not much to see on that front.
That scene, I was really distracted by Shuri's giant ass suit.
Yeah. Kind of takes away from the majesty of the whole scene that she's just in some giant Gundam mech. It
was real distracting.
I think moments like those where I think it should have been beautiful but it wasn't I think it's just the whole Marvel MCU kind of. I don't know if they're cutting corners now. But it just feels kind of bad and stuff. And it reminds me of what Peter was saying. He told me that it's a good thing it's coming out before Avatar 2 because the underwater scenes are going to be right after watching that.
Also, as well, those things take if you just slap visuals on there, the visuals on their own raise a lot of questions as well, which you're going to have to take time to explain.
Sure.
How do these people get around? Was that like their version of an Uber, like the stream which they used to travel underwater? There's a lot of questions which comes by exposing more visuals of an actual city, which they probably wanted to avoid. So maybe something they'll save for a later movie, maybe.
Sorry. Just wanna make a quick correction because I've been calling it Tanok. It's actually called Talokan. Yeah, sorry, it's Talokan. And the name of Namor's actual name in his heritage is Cuckoo Clan, I think.
Yeah.
The winged god or something like that.
The winged god, the snake, the winged serpent, the winged serpent.
Yeah.
Such a cool name.
Yeah, it's kind of badass, but one problem with it. I don't know if it's a problem, but I don't know. Just to me, because when they were showing like Namor's flashback, or as in like his heritage, or how he came to be, like his people are only like 1 or 2 generations because his mom was the one who ate the herb.
Lots of babies.
Yeah. So so basically they basically come out and say he's a mutant, right? So he's basically the first mutant of the MCU, I believe.
Yeah, because he's been living for hundreds of years. Yeah.
Yeah. So like how has this society like expanded and grown like so quickly? And like unless he's like ages a lot slower than his actual age.
Yeah, no, they said he's hundreds of years old.
Oh, is it? Oh, sorry. Okay, fair enough. So he's right. I see.
I think he's the only one. He's hundreds of years old. The others actually had a full mutation, so they can't actually breathe above water, but he can.
Okay, so he's like an actual god, basically to them. He's an actual god.
Yeah, in actuality, he's almost kind of a half breed, right?
No, he's a mutant. Well, he's a mutant.
That's right. Yeah.
No, but I mean that's what makes him a mutant. Is that he's the half breed. He didn't actually have the full transformation. He was just a
because all the other Talokans, they've got the gills and breathe underwater, but he doesn't have any gills. He's got the wings on his feet, pointed ears, and
does he have gills? Because I thought
he doesn't have gills.
He breathes through his skin.
But I didn't have gills.
He breathes through his skin. For his skin,
okay.
That's how he oxygenates and stuff. But
and the slightly pointed ears. He's the only one of his kind.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Cool.
Should we talk about the final battle between Black Panther and Namor? What do people think?
Oh, that took me out of the movie. I was like, no, I'm done. I'm checking out. When she just casually like moved her body through the spear and was like, and just dusted it off. I was like, whoosh. Wow, that was a bit of a stretch. I was like, wait, hold on, what? You should be passed out right now, mate. Yeah, I was like, how does that work? But
aside, and I guess the way, I can't even remember like how she won now. How did she win in the end? It was something corny, like I don't know.
She ripped off his wing.
She lit him on fire.
With the jet engine. She activated the jet engine.
That was it. So she didn't even. She didn't really win the fight, but yeah, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that.
She lost the fight, but
she won the. I thought was actually pretty tough. I enjoyed watching the Aquin sequence. It was just it seemed really barbaric and just rough. Which I thought you could rarely see it was blind rage from both of them, which I thought was cool.
With that injury, though, I'm pretty sure she lost an organ.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Cam. Yeah, exactly. Like she would need a transplant, like a liver transplant, like after that.
She's not walking away after that.
Yeah. But you know what they say, vibranium fixed it. So it's all good.
That drama, yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. That's just made on heart-shaped herb.
Yeah.
Somehow. Superpowers and that, you know what I mean?
It moved to organs that way, innit?
Superheroes do all sorts of nonsense like in these movies, brother. You know.
Who knows, bro? Let's just assume that, like, you know, her costume was able to sew close the wound. I don't know. Let's just go
that nanotechnology.
Vibration sold everything. That's what we've learned.
Yeah.
Not unless you were at the end credit scene in front of the hospital waiting for an organ donor, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Oh man. Yeah. But anyway, I thought the fight scene was pretty cool at the end anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, it ended a bit weak. I think the fight ended.
Well, there's a major criticism that you know, they agree to have a truce between, and an alliance, if you will, between the Talakanian people and the Wakandans. But that truce is made under, like, he's basically about to die. So of course he's going to agree to it. And on top of that, he's killed her mum. So basically, long story short, there's no integrity. Like, there's nothing to say that he won't go back on his word.
Yeah. It's character development for her because she overcame the need for blood for vengeance. But on the flip side, Namor has done nothing for this movie to make it seem like he can negotiate or is like willing to compromise at all. So I don't know why, like, he would even want to offer that to him. Like, he's not, throughout the whole movie, he's literally been like, you know what I say? I'm gonna fuck shit up, bro. That's literally been him throughout the film.
Yeah.
So, I don't. Yeah.
It's true, yeah. And why suddenly have a change of heart? It really doesn't add up.
They should have imprisoned his ass, bruv. That's what I think they should have done.
Yeah. He couldn't though, because let's be honest, he may have lost the fight, but his army won. Like,
yeah, so true. It's really, yeah.
Like, at that point, when he went back and told everyone, chill, he could have just said, fuck them up, bro.
Do you know what, bro? That's what I think his actual character should have done and would have done, bro. Do you know what, bro? You kill me here, bro, but I'm gonna stick to my word. You're all dead. That is what his character would have done.
the real reason why, and because he explains why he let them go, and he said that it's better to have them as an ally rather than an eternal enemy. And if he had done that straight away, if he had done what you're saying, then Wakanda and Talokan would have been at war forever, which would have made them both more vulnerable to the humans. So he's saying if we engage in their truce now, eventually the humans are going to attack Wakanda and they're going to rely on us, which will make us a stronger unit together, because we both together, I mean, Talokan and Wakanda would be able to wipe out.
Which is what he wanted the whole time anyway. That was his proposal.
Yeah, that is why he left it. Rather than having an enemy and forcing maybe Wakanda to turn on them and join the humans or something. That would be the rationale behind it. That's what he was explaining.
Yeah.
Well, so he did have that kind of cheesy moment where when it happened, he kind of saw his mum as well. So it had a cheesy moment. Oh no!
Yeah. I just think little things like that really pulled me out of his character, because it was just the small inconsistencies which you don't think his character has, and then you see little sparks of them, and it's like, this is a bit inconsistent with what he's done for the duration of the film.
To be fair, I mean, so there's the reasoning behind, like, I mean, the fact that he wanted to kill Riri Williams, like, that was going to solve anything. I mean, they could have definitely, like, they've got the machine. I'm sure they could have, like, rebuilt that without Riri now, once they've got it.
I think the point is they couldn't, because the US government was still trying to go after her so that she could build another one. So they obviously couldn't build it.
Okay. I didn't know she was going to
go up there. A big plot point, because I don't know if she built this one-of-a-kind machine, why you just let her go?
That's not.
How did they even get the machine? Like, what happened? Like, why would she even build a vibranium detector? Like, they didn't explain that.
Also, she went back home. Was she still gonna get hounded by the US government, or was there some kind of deal that said they're gonna leave her alone? Because she literally left the US, like, being chased by the FBI or whatever, bro. So she went back home, and then GG's, bro.
There's a lot of unfinished questions there.
Ran out of time, bro. Ran out of time.
Vibranium detector in the first place. I think it would have been better if they just stumbled across it rather than making this vibranium. I know they had to introduce a way for Riri Williams to be the smartest person on the planet. I just think I don't think it was a good way to do it.
No.
Yeah, because
she didn't seem that smart. She just seemed like a asset. She didn't actually seem like, the.
I don't think they were that bad either. I think Shuri's smarter than Riri, I think.
Yeah.
Definitely scientifically, Shuri's ahead.
Well, yeah, but it was like, there was just. I think they should have done a lot more to if they are going to portray her as really intelligent, they should have made her do something that seemed like she was. Because all we know is that she really made this machine, and that she made this Iron Man machine suit off screen, and so it just seems like she's.
And also, she's so.
She repaired a car at 3 years old, which doesn't even don't make sense. Literally, I don't care how smart you are, a 3-year-old can't repair a car. Why not 8, 7 or 8 or something? Why would
The thing is, like, if she's so intelligent, why is she still at college? Like, why is she still in college if she's so intelligent?
Funding, innit? I don't know.
Right, doesn't add up. And how did she get hold of vibranium?
Her original suit was vibranium.
It wasn't vibranium.
No. The vibranium detector, obviously, to prove that it worked, she would have had to.
Yeah, you would need vibranium.
Is that what you're getting at? She would have had to have had vibranium to know it would have worked. And she did actually prove it worked to her professor as well. So maybe she'd have found some on eBay.
Well, maybe
$1 million.
Captain America's shield, like in the museum. Also, wouldn't that detector literally lead them to Wakanda?
Oh yeah,
Wakanda is, don't they?
Oh, that's true as well. Yeah. Actually, I don't know, because the way the machine works is like it's like some huge freaking thing, and I don't know how you. I think they just take it point to point to kind of look for vibranium, like a mine detector.
just I think this is like I think we're just getting into the nitpicky of.
Yeah, we are. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we can nitpick all day. We can nitpick all night, to be honest. Yeah.
Yeah. If you said it didn't really bring the hype. Okay, well we can see your score's going on Pete, bro.
Yeah.
But who wants to
I
go?
have a question for everyone.
Oh, sure.
Everyone.
Yeah.
Which Black Panther movie do you think is better?
Oh, that's a no-brainer. Come on now. Wow.
Yeah.
What question is that?
That's the question.
After the way this review has gone, I think it's pretty obvious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually find it absurd that people say this one's better. I honestly can't understand how you would think that.
Who's saying that? Like,
I've heard people say it. I've heard people say this is better than the first one. Well, in their opinions, but I don't know. I think it's just the hype. But
Nah.
I think it's the hype and the whole emotional roller coaster of Chadwick. I think that's why people are saying it. But give it a few months and they'll come back.
I don't get that because I'm not saying he wasn't a great actor or anything, but I don't think he was the be all end all. He was a great actor, but the only role most people know him for is the Marvel movies.
Yeah, but I think that's the point. The point is that he really did his presence in the role carried the character and the first movie and the character throughout all of the parts
He's
of the
not
Avengers.
the only actor to do that.
He's not the only one, but I just mean when people are because this is about passing the mantle. When people are talking about passing the mantle and they're it's obviously clear who the all-time favorite is going to be because like you said, Shuri hasn't really grown into or the actress hasn't grown into the character fully as yet, whichever way you want to look at it. So
Cam, have you seen Chadwick Boseman's last movie?
no, I haven't seen it.
Last movie.
What's it called?
It's called Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. It's got Viola Davis in it. It's like
Any good?
It's amazing. Like his performance in that is just incredible. So like,
Wow.
if you don't think his acting is,
I never said anything about acting. I'm just saying that there are plenty of great actors that don't get the treatment that he's getting and that have passed away.
Yeah, I guess so. I think it's more of like the sort of Marvel branding. Well, the fact that he was so well loved.
I think get a lot more recognition after they've passed.
Yeah, it's the normal way. Like art becomes more valuable when the artist dies. People become more revered as soon as they pass away. When no one was really talking about them like that before, and obviously the circumstances of his death as well. The fact that he was battling colon cancer in secret while doing these movies as well. There's a lot of reasons why he's been revered and all that, and also the original Black Panther movie having all of that, all black cast, all black directors, all blah blah, all of that. Because in my opinion, I think the first Black Panther movie was overhyped. I don't think it's as good as people are making it out to be. I thought it was a good movie, but people were going on like it was like fucking Second Coming or something. It was a good movie. It was but I think because of all the other stuff around it, why it got that overhyped. That was very overhyped.
In the grand scheme of things, let's just put it that way, bro.
I think it's more the fact that it was a milestone. It's a milestone accomplishment in terms of obviously what it is. So the story wasn't like the best story of all time by any stretch. But again, it's like what it means to like the kind of the culture and the progression like for black movies. Black cast movies to make it's the first movie to make over $1 billion worldwide, so that is a big thing. So
exactly, and I think this movie is going through that a similar hype train right now in terms of like the things around it, Chadwick passing and stuff. That's why probably people are saying that this is really great. But I don't think this was better than the first one now.
Definitely.
Does that mean you're ready to give your scores?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Cool. Okay.
Who wants to start us off?
All right, I'll start. So basically, coming into this movie, like I tried to manage my expectations. Like I didn't want to come in like having too low expectations, but at the same time, I didn't want to obviously like come in like really excited for it. I would say that this was underwhelming. Basically, just because it just felt really very bloated, as I said before. It just felt like there was too much happening. The story just didn't feel very linear. Like I just wanted a story that was, because with the first Black Panther, it just felt like very straightforward. You know, it just flows really eloquently. But with this movie, it just kind of the pacing was kind of like up and down. Just me personally, there was just so many elements there. But at the same time, it felt quite empty. Like it just kind of lacked a certain like build up of emotion. There were great performances, and it's a movie that I would definitely watch again. But I think I would maybe fast forward certain bits. Like there are some scenes that I love, but I think it adds up to less than the sum of its parts, if you know what I mean. So as a whole, it's not great, but it does have some good scenes in it, and I love the soundtrack as well. So I think I would say I would give it a 6 out of 10.
I'll go next quickly. I don't have too much to add further than what Peter said. I think the movie done a good job at saving kind of the Black Panther side of the franchise. I think it was more of a great job at recovery for the character and the Black Panther kind of name and whatnot, as opposed to it being a great movie in its own right. So for that reason, I think I'll probably just give it a 5, if I'm being honest. I do think there's things that would have made it better if they just kind of maybe focused on Shuri and Namor, and like we said, character so much, bring down the timing of the movie and just focus more on the kind of intricacies in those characters. But yeah, I think for me it was just kind of average. It was a 5. I'm more looking forward to what is next for Shuri's character as opposed to this side of the origin story, if I'm being honest. But yeah, that's where I stand on it.
Yeah, I can go next then. So, yeah, just make it quick. Basically, yeah, I can pretty much say kind of ditto what Pete and Ruben said. Yeah, the only check I had. I did like the soundtrack. I mean, the soundtrack was probably like the highlight of me because, like I said, Ludwig Göransson is like one of my favorites. Visually, I don't know. I'm just kind of sick of the old MCU kind of aesthetic. I think it's just starting to become this bit of an eyesore for me. Especially when you watch, like proper beautiful movies. I think MCU just kind of been a bit stale in that sense, especially with the superhero fatigue just hitting me very hard, as I've told you guys. So I think I was hoping this would be the one that kind of reversed it a tiny bit, but unfortunately I can say it kind of established it even more. So yeah, honestly, okay, I'll just give my score. Yeah, I'll give it a 5 out of 10 as well.
5 out of 10, cool.
That
stuff.
For me, I enjoyed it. It had a good couple one-liners that had me laughing. Again, what you said, there was nothing amazing about it. The score was amazing. I've got the soundtrack. I've got a couple tracks in my playlist now. They didn't need to introduce Riri Williams into it. I know why they did, but it sort of held back the movie, in my opinion. So for me, it was nutritious, but nothing special. So I give it a 6.
6.
Okay. I'll say overall, I think this movie was too long, quite bloated in places. I had managed my expectations on this only because of some of the factors they had to deal with, mainly the passing of T'Challa, which they handled very well in my opinion, and also the passing of the mantle from Chadwick Boseman to Letitia Wright. I think they handled her becoming the Black Panther quite well as well. Is it enough for me to want to see more Black Panther? Not really. That's mainly down to Letitia Wright not really having the gravitas for me to be the Black Panther, but obviously I can't really hold too much against the movie on that because they were kind of forced in this position. Introducing Riri Williams, it seemed like it was more forced than required for the story, so I think that blowed it out. I thought the soundtrack was amazing. I always think when a movie actually gets me to go on Spotify and start looking up tracks for a movie, I think he's done a good job there. Because most movies I wouldn't do that for, so I thought this was great in that, and I thought some of the soundtrack really done well to mirror the emotions on screen as well. I thought some of the performances, considering this is a movie about side characters, basically, I thought the performances, quite a few people that hit out the park. Angela Bassett and Dominica Guerrera in particular, I thought they were very good, as well as Lupita, and I thought done a good job as well. And even Letitia Wright to an extent, I thought all of the performance, I couldn't fault any of the main cast and their performances, considering they're taking a lot more because they were back up to Chadwick Boseman. So I thought you could tell they all wanted to make sure that they done the best they could. Having said all of that, I did like this movie and I would watch it again. I may fast forward through some certain parts, but overall, with all of that in mind, I would give this a 7 out of 10. I think it was well prepared and presented, I think, but no more than that.
Cool, man. All right, cool. Nice wrap up. Quick question, Subi. So, with your superhero fatigue setting in there, would you say you agree with Martin Scorsese now? You're kind of like on his side.
Oh yeah, hell yeah, 100%. Yes.
Do you remember? Just to let everyone know, do you remember his quote? What he said?
Sorry.
Do you remember what his
He
quote?
said all movies are real movies.
Yeah, it was like a thrill ride amusement park or something.
Yeah, exactly. It's not.
Yeah.
He basically said it's not cinema, it's not art anymore. And I'm
it's
starting to
not
feel that
art,
way.
yeah.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I still think it comes across a little bitter. Just because you don't like something doesn't mean it's not art. It's just, I feel like there was a better way to describe that rather than just saying, well, I don't like it, so it's not art or it's not cinema. Well, when it is, you don't like it. It's like people that say that rap isn't music. It's like, well, just because you don't like rap, well, therefore it's not music. I mean, there's different forms of art. You don't just dismiss it as not art because you don't like it. So,
No, you're absolutely.
I don't agree when he says it wasn't art. I did agree that it's not like proper film, I guess, in a sense, or that it's more like an amusement park ride rather than an actual well thought out film. But I would disagree with him in the first 3 phases, because those were actually really well handled and stuff. But I think everything that's what it's become now, it's becoming more and more what he said.
Yeah, because in my point, because I agree with both of you, but I kind of see where you're coming from in the fact that like the MCU has almost become like a production line. Like it's just like it's not really kind of inspired anymore, like it used to be. It's just like, oh yeah, here's the next movie, then the next one. Like, we're following this formula, and like, all of these things have to be, like someone said earlier about how Ryan Coogler, he had like a mandate to put all these things in it, which kind of probably, made the story suffer a little bit. But hey ho, is what it is.
Yeah, I always just question people that gatekeep certain things. I was like, who made you the authority of what art or what film should or shouldn't be or what is proper? That's all my if you don't like it, then critique it, but that doesn't make you the gatekeeper of what should and shouldn't be art or what should and shouldn't be film or what should.
He should have just said he thinks it's bad art, if anything.
Yeah, true.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure, because there's always going to be criticisms of all sorts of art, but it's all welcome in the space because even in the first 3 phases, I thought the first 3 phases done something that we hadn't seen before.
Yeah, absolutely.
In terms of having, so I thought it was quite revolutionary in that.
And to be fair, the fact that they going for long, such good quality is actually, to their a lot of things that struggle to keep up with the momentum that they create. So the fact that they managed to keep it up.
Yes, because they've set a standard, and now it seems quite formulaic, and they're trying to just. It seems like now they're trying to capitalize on their past success rather than coming up with great stories and telling a well thought out stories. And to be fair, it's a shame as well because I feel like Phase 4, at one point, it looked like it might be heading a decent direction. With I really like Loki, for example, but it seems to have literally fallen off a cliff since Loki. I think. I don't think. So it's and yeah, this is a bit too much now. I think they're just peppering movies, series. You got She-Hulk and Miss Marvel and all these things, and I'm just like,
dash all the ingredients in the pot.
This is it.
See what happens, bro. Dash it all in, see what happens.
Alright, thanks a lot, guys, and thank you for taking the time to watch our review of Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. As you can see from the review, we were all pretty much in agreement. This movie didn't live up to the hype of the first movie, and it could have been better in place, even though it did have some great moments. Let us know your thoughts and feelings on the movie in the comments below, and we'll see you for the next review. Thanks a lot, guys.